Hi everyone, I'm Nu-Trix, and today we're talking about the Super 7 from UVI. It's just fun. Honestly, it's just a fun bank. I don't know what to call it because it works within Workstation, which is their basic playback engine, which is very powerful. It also runs inside Vulcan if you want the full-fledged sampler that they have, and like the big one. Super 7, it's really cool because you could do a song with just that. You could do a song without even a DAW, just using Super 7. Or you could use Super 7 as a bass line, a lead, a drum, automatic accompaniment, kind of. It does have classic sounds from the Roland drum sounds. A lot of the sounds come from the MK7, which is basically a rack mount 8-voice synthesizers from the 80s that has the famous Juno 106 filter and PCM sounds. So it's a mix of sample playback, ROMPLER, but with the analog filter that is, the guts of the sound that is really cool. Now, they sample it and other interesting sounds, but then they use it in this very cool layout. Honestly, you've got these, I'll show you. It's easy when you look at it. So there's a list: electropop, synth wave, future funk, modern disco. There's a bunch of them. Let's try electronic pop, which is pretty cool. Say Dark Time, just the first one. You'll understand what I want. We're just going to do a tour of the interface. So when you start, you've got at the top, you've got these different sections: rhythm, bass, melody, synth 1, synth 2, and synth 3. And you have, in this case, because I'm in main, they show me the volume of the drums, okay? So you've got drums here, click on rhythm, you have control over it, you have each of the sounds separately. If I press a key, you got the whole thing happening, the whole shebang. I mean, everything is just playing, which is pretty cool, and the loops are really cool. So you can actually use this as a synthesizer, because there's some banks where you only have like a bass, a lead, a pad, or just the drums. Or you can use it like this, where you have the whole thing happening. 3 synth, melody, plus bass, plus the rhythm, the drum. And each of the drums, they have, of course, the volume, level, the pan, the pitch, the decay, the filter. You can send to 2 different effects. You can send to the delay A and B. Let's say we're gonna just go through each of them. Bass is a little bit different. You've got the sound you can use, and you've got an arpeggiator dedicated for the bass. Melody, same logic. Synth 1, synth 2, and synth 3. They basically have the same layout, okay? So let's just mute everything and solo the drum and look at the drum, the rhythm part. If I press the key, what's playing is a rhythm selection here. That if you look at it, you've got a list of these rhythm selection. So you say, well, I'm gonna try this one. Okay, and then you can actually select the drum kit you're gonna use. And say, well, I wanna have the toms with some delay on it, or a lot of reverb. The hi-hat, I want some. Hear the clap with the reverb. So you can actually control some of it. You've got distortion, you got overdrive here. You got an EQ, and you got the global effects also to send. If you press hold, you're gonna press a key, and it's gonna play. That's it. It just runs by itself. And then you can play other things. So if you click on the preset, it's gonna change everything, the kit and the rhythm. But if you go and select the different kit, you can have the same stuff playing. You're just changing the drum kit. You can change just the rhythm itself. Now, I like to look at this like if you're buying loops, because now if you like this drum, you can actually take the MIDI here and drop it on a MIDI track. You see? And now you have this MIDI track of the drum we just heard. So going back here, I'm going to do it again. can take the drum here from MIDI, and that's the performance. Drop it here, and if I press play. Now, if I don't use the trigger, now it's going to play them as separate instruments. That's what's happening. Now, the next one, the bass. If we learn how to use the bass, all of them are the same way. So you've got the preset at the top here, and you've got the arpeggiator happening. And because this one is a bass, every time you go up the keys, it's still going to stay within the bass notes. See? It's just doing always the same bass notes, even if you go up the keys, because this one is dedicated to the bass, which is okay. So we've got the drive, you have a phaser, you have an equalizer, again, reverb send and delay. You have the instrument that, this is a preset here. You can actually save one if you want. You can load from the hard drive. You can import, you can export, you can actually load these. So you see, well, there's not a lot, you know, phase, basically. But this is all preset with phase. But then if you click here, I'm going to use, this is all kind of the presets of the instrument you can load in. These are all bass. Not all bass. And remember, these are kind of ROMPLERs, so they're sampled and prepared for you, so you just like put them in and it works. Okay, so let's pick something more like a bass. It was just weird stuff. So you can just like, that's a cool one. So if you go melody, you get the same logic. Oh, well, yeah, the next step is what you have under it. It's the arpeggiator. So this one is, again, the arpeggiator. You can turn it on or off. You get the steps, how many steps you want to use. The speed. The gate. And then these value here, you say a single, a chord, bend plus, bend minus. You want it to bend. And you got the octave, which octave it's on. And this one here is by default semitone. But if you click here, you can say degree. So it's still affecting the pitch, but then it's degree instead of semitone. So there's two ways to affecting it. And if you want to again have a bunch of these presets, well, you can click there and it's just going to load other ones. So now, if you go, yeah, okay, fine, I can actually take the sound. Honestly, the sounds they're really cool, and I'm gonna make you listen to some of the sound, and you'll understand why I like this. It's fun, and it gives you ideas. It really, I look at it like you're buying loops. Okay, let's try this one. You'll see. You'll see. You can like start a little song with that. So you would have to enter the note for the whole length of the loop and then re-trigger it next. I just love these sounds. They're just like really nice. We're in electronic pop right now. Just listen to this. And again, if you want to edit this, you can say, well, I want to use it's just, you buy this, you buy triggers of ideas. That's what it is. These are just like fun to start a song with. Some of them are the same kind of song and in like different versions. So you can actually use them as a, you know, part of the same song. Let's try another one. I just love these sounds, man. It's just fun. It is just fun. Okay, nice. Just like, okay, so let's start a song. And again, you could go in and go for each of them and change them to another one. You can change your arpeggiator. So it's a cool way to just have ideas and trigger them, you know. You have the effects window here. We can control the different effects that we saw. You have A and B for reverb, A and B for delay, equalizer, compressor drive, and that's what you see when you're moving between the different instruments. You have them here, the sends, A, B for delay, and all that. So it's just a fun, inspiring bundle to play with. Now, these are the, I would say, full instrument playing, but then you get into stuff like ambient cloud. So listen to that, just to have a couple of ideas. So you still have some drums, but it's very subtle and nice and peaceful. Well, distorted peace. And let's try, I don't know, pyramids. I didn't try all of them because there's a big bunch in them. And again, if you say, well, okay, interesting to have this playing, but what I basically want is to be able to play all of these separately. Well, you could actually copy this and just go in and mute the one you don't want to play, like just mute them. Or you can go right into them and say, well, I want to deactivate the arpeggiator. So now you're just using them as a pad. And that's what you have. Like here, you've got stacked sounds. So this one, you don't have drums on them usually. You just have a stack of arpeggiators with pads. Big brass, what do we have here? It's a nice lush sound, I like it. Okay, I mean, these are more of instruments you can play, but that when you look at it, you're using 3 or 4 samples or instrument playing at the same time. And the last one is single instruments. So you want a melody, you click on it, then you have only one, which is actually a pretty cool way to, if you want to use it just like a bass line. So all the sound you like and you find interesting, well, right now you just have this one. If you want to change it, well, you have the preset here. Say, well, I want to have this. But then you can also change the sample. You know, oh, well, I want to change it to... And then you've got the synthesis of, you know, the ADSR, filter, ADSR, distortion, and all that stuff. So it's a fun little bundle to play with. I really want to look at it and I get inspired by it. I find really interesting just to load patches with all the rhythm playing, just like, oh, it could trigger an idea here. And it's a loop, so it's like buying loops of sounds, but drum is MIDI, and the instruments, you can do a lot more with them because they're not sampled. I mean, it's not a loop that is recorded. It's just a loop that is basically what you play in an arpeggiator. So I like the approach. I find this just fun. And part of playing music should be fun. So this is the fun part. I mean, you load that in and you just play. You get kind of a good time just doing it. That's it. If you like UVI, if you like that sound, check it out, Super 7. I personally like it. Stay safe, make more music. See you soon, guys.